Well, good morning. Beautiful rainy morning. I'd like to call this meeting to order and introduce our president, Vince.
You're going to give me 1 second though, because I need to tweet this. The link to the thing.
Finishes off his that did not prevent Vince no longer to be at the meeting on time and be ready for it. Please help me welcome Vince.
Good morning, everyone. Please rise. If you care to join, please join me in saluting our flag and saying the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our chamber today. I will browse through this and think of a very, very apropos invitation for one. If you will live as though every day were your last day on earth, someday. Now, all right. The minute must be. Is anything big?
I have President. We met on the 21st. It was have to underscore the importance of showing up. The word of the day was underscore. We did talk about pledge of allegiance and whether or not we should be saying it. Brett moved to scrap the pledge. We all home. We then tabled the motion and we got the forum. Which would be at least 15 of the Toastmasters present. We did the status reports on surveys. We did prepare the award for the Greg. That one.
Right after you did open back.
And we talked about the Open Source North conference that was going to be coming up. It was a Toastmaster, and we had a speaker, Alex, who spoke on BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, and China, and South Africa. We added. There was an evaluator with Brett. We did not vote for that, but we did the best. And then we had a couple of other awards. But there was no word picture, which is interesting because Mr. President.
As mentioned, tonight we have one piece of business. I'm happy to bring it up because I don't feel the attitude that we don't have more. But I would like to address this. Is there any new business? What?
Mr. President, for the Toastmasters, I would like to make a motion that if we fail to give out any of the awards, that we have a penalty. And that penalty for the Toastmaster, or whatever the variant is, or whatever the award is, would be $100 if they fail to give out the award.
Well, we have a motion on the floor. Is there any? Do we have a second? But remember, if you can't make second to that.
Or the motion can die.
Yes. Or more. Well, we don't see that. Sorry,
Our motion dies.
do we have any other new business? How about any announcements? That's coming out. There is an event for Windows 10 launch that our former member just is helping run. I'll be tomorrow. I will try to shoot for that. Events like that are very, very good targets for people who might want to attend. We should be thinking about people who actually already want to sell out, people who are already sticking out, doing something. help you improve your networking. So I'll be attending that. And I really, really do encourage everybody to go to more events, go to more youth groups that we need to go. Keep it back in your life. Bring some cards with you. So I'll be on that. I believe it's that I can. But, you know, we can talk to Jessica and myself. Any other announcements? I'd like to announce that I went to the Toastmasters Leadership Institute on Saturday. That was I went for the purpose of training, but it was a crazy event that involved professional speakers. I didn't go to the entire thing, but I did go to the majority. $10 one, then $30. I said $30 one, $10. But I still have got speeches from professional trainers, from a professional speaker, and things like that. I walked away with a lot more value than and I know that they also went through training session as well, and we brought the officers this year to make sure that we get trained up by the officers. Any other announcements? Okay, I think I'm going to go ahead and welcome the Toastmaster. Our Toastmaster today is our wonderful esteemed member who has been this very glad that he's here. If you would all please help me give a warm welcome to our Toastmaster.
Good morning, everyone. We're doing. All right.
Well, I hope, well, first of all, thanks for showing up. Second, I hope you got more sleep than I did last night. I was helping my friend to move an international flight and was up until 12 p.m. You know what I learned? The value of diligence. Not doing something. Not call anyone in the morning and because of the time differences, stay to sleep, stay there for anyways, so let's start the meeting for one. And we'll settle the direction of the roles. And I see that Dean's going to be doing the majority of the heavy lifting today. I like picking up roles. You want to share?
Caught Brett and Tony. So.
Okay, well, yeah. All right. Well, Vince, why don't you tell us about anything that you're going to do?
Okay, sure. I'll start off with the timer. Oh, I guess it's kind of, is it all right in a row? I guess, pretty much. All right, so.
We need to split timer and grammarian because it will not be possible to do same time, timer and grammarian.
Would you like to do something?
I can do something, yes.
Oh, okay. Mike can do time, because the thing is got the whole thing built in there.
I'm timing.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, tell us about your role.
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, as the timer today, I will not be starting the meeting off a little bit lengthy, though I am on the schedule for adjustment, because I know that will be later. But I will be timing people to make sure they finish on time, because that's my job, and I will wave colors at you. You do not stop talking.
Okay. Now back to Vince.
All right.
Tell us about what you do. Go ahead.
Well, I'll go to the front because I'll be the grammarian as well, but I'm going to. I'm also going to be the 1-minute Toastmaster. I'm trying to see something here.
So first, I'm going to be the 1-minute Toastmaster here. Now, like I said, I went to the Toastmasters Leadership Institute, and I'm primarily focusing on how to improve the health of the club, whether it's member satisfaction or membership numbers in general. And one thing that I took home from the event was speech writing. But it's almost like an intro to Toastmasters, where it's almost like a step down from common communicators and it's a series of speeches that will continue to go and try to invite people who are not yet Toastmasters, maybe they're not even interested in it, but who might want to work on the public speaking, might be prospective Toastmasters, and bring them in and go through a workshop and seasoned Toastmasters. And hopefully in that they will see the value of the idea of Toastmasters and join up. So I think that would be a really good idea for us to use it. Now, for Marion today. Nope. No, it's not.
speech.
It is. No, no.
Wait, this is your speech.
You're killing me. All right, it's gone now.
Okay, but not everything, okay?
Yes, go ahead. No, go ahead. Anyway, I'll write over here so you don't have to. So we have it. So the word today is Samaritan. Temerity is a brazen or reckless. That's not done with recklessness or brazenness. So I raised stuff on the board with great temerity.
Indeed.
So I will also be paying attention to your vowels and sounds. I'm a little bit more of an accent than a lot of the others. So we'll
Is it correct to say Temero also? Temero, or it's not required?
I'm not sure. I will investigate that matter.
So if you are this weather person, you say, please.
I would think timorous, but I don't know. Let's see if I can find a root word.
Let's not be encouraged.
Temeridus.
Wonderful. So with that, I think we're going to hold the rules. Did I see rules? So, we got a little bit of problem here. Next time. All right, let's see. Who's going to take a topics? Ready? Or how about a table topics from each one of us? Right. Maybe. Well, you want to well, hey, I'm a table topic. I'm a Toastmaster, right? So I can probably assign stuff to people.
Mike, still has to do for just.
Please, okay, well, do the coordination first. Then we'll assign table topics.
Mr. Topic Master, or Toastmaster, this is a very sad day. As you know, the storm came through, and it was a car accident, and a doctor, a teacher, and a TechMaster all died, and that sent us to early gates, and they were talking to St. Peter. St. Peter said, yes, well, I'll grant you one thing, hear what your loved ones are saying about you. What do you most want to hear from your loved ones? Doctor thought for a moment and said, well, I'd like to hear that I made a difference, that I saved some lives, that he was a good doctor. The teacher similarly said, well, you know, this is really kind of a sad thing because he really was reaching out, touching the lives of the future and helping children to learn. And St. Peter turns to TechMaster and he said, what would you most like to hear? And he said, oh, look, he's moving.
Well, that's fine. I'll take the table topics. Unless anybody wants to take the table topics. Any takers?
I'll take it.
Oh, sure. Hey, please welcome the new table topics master. William.
To quote one of our past members, Eddie, the honor is to serve. So here I am as tabletop master. Being that I'm going to be thinking on my feet, we're going to just roll with it. So one of the things that I'm really interested in and really enjoying doing is watching movies. And I've been watching a lot of the movies that are being previewed for the upcoming, in the summer, I guess, so this summer. So I'm going to call on you and I'm going to ask you a question about that series. First, we'll go to Mohammed. Easy one. Tell me what movie you're most looking forward to this summer.
Thank you, Mr. Table Topic Master, fellow TechMasters. I would like to say, in fact, I'm ashamed to say it, and I'm looking forward to watching Sharknado 4. 4, yes, 4. If you missed Sharknado 3, it ended on a cliffhanger with the question, should April live or shape will die in Sharknado 4. So if you haven't seen Sharknado, leave all your expectations of a great movie, leave all your expectations of a great plot, great acting. Anything that makes a movie great, just leave it all at the door. Sit back, relax, and just enjoy it. Because the movie doesn't have a real storyline. It doesn't have anything that would tell you that it's possible. Sharknado, shark going into a tornado and coming on land. Very possible, right? But it's a really riveting movie, and it really pulls you in. My son wanted to watch it. He was 11, so you can expect what kind of movie that's going to be. He wanted to watch it, and his cousins were over it. And I said, you know what? Let's start it. I don't care. Let's start it. You can watch for half an hour, and it's going to be bedtime. Half an hour turned into an hour and a half, and everybody was pulled into this movie. If we could not explain why it was so stupid, it didn't have anything that would pull you in for it didn't have any, well, it had action, but it didn't have any storyline, great dialogue, great acting, great actors at that. If you haven't seen Sharknado, I would highly encourage you to watch Sharknado. But people like it. Thank you.
Next, I'll go to Clear. Can you tell me about a hero or a heroine in one of your favorite movies and a time when it failed?
Thank you, Mr. Master. I would like to bring up what is that movie in the back of your Iron Man, yes. Perfect. So I love that movie because here you have a very flawed hero, somebody who in real life has drug addictions, alcohol problems, and is flawed in being. And then takes on this character where indeed he's flawed in himself, but by taking on this new persona, he's able to overcome the problems he has internally to some extent, love, being a little more empathetic, and relating to other people. And as a result, he's able to save the day. So I think a flawed hero who turns around.
Thank you. Yes, Iron Man. What's his real name? Robert Downey Jr. Yeah, sorry, Tony Stark. One of my favorite. Alice, can you tell me about the best use of CGI? Computer generated animation? Can you tell me about the best use of that in a movie that you have
The tabletop master, thank you for the question. The best I I'm watching movies, I'm not trying to separate it from man-made, handmade effect versus CGI effect. And also if it's CGA, I'm not sure about A. So I would go recently by accident, or maybe it was pre-planned by destiny. I watched 2 movies in 2 weekends. One was Minions, another was Pixels. And Minions grow very much advertised and Pixels not much. But I found Pixel much more entertaining and much more kind movie, and overall I kind of felt much better movie somehow. It may be not positioned that way, and then that Pixels movie where was very interesting CGI effect when a person or thing in a movie, when it's touched by pixel force, become pixelated. And later, especially those pixels kind of live by its own life. That was not maybe most outstanding effect, But overall, it wasn't a bad movie. However, I would recommend you to watch it just because it's so kind. Thank you.
I've seen Minions. One of the younger crowd, I think I would say. Who else would I call on? Just keep going. All right, Nick. One of my favorite movies was the Arnold Schwarzenegger Terminator 2, Terminator 3 movie. Terminator, what else was that? The last one.
Genesis.
Terminator Genesis.
Genesis, here we go, yeah.
And I really enjoyed this movie because they took the old nostalgia, and nostalgia not being what it used to be, right? They took the nostalgia from the original Terminator movies and they brought it into Terminator Genesis. And that helped me kind of go full circle. I felt like, I remember where I was when I first saw that scene. I remember how I felt. Dropped out of that energy. It was still pretty confusing. It was great. But tell me about a character or an actor that you've seen in the past and that you've seen recently and how they've grown.
I want to talk about this movie because we've seen it together in later. So I think that would be a good example for a good and bad CGI effects. And a good, I mean, because they really didn't have no choice. They had to work with what was in the past, and they had to do what they knew. After who obviously suddenly not aged by how many, 30 years, 40 years, by a lot of years. So if you guys haven't seen, how many people have seen Terminator Genesis? Okay, quite a long time. Basically at the beginning they try to merge the older guy fighting himself, the newer guy. There's a lot of CGIs in that. It actually looks pretty natural. I'm sure they put a lot of money into the graphics. But also they use the cheapest way to do CGI too, because throughout the movie, they couldn't just use computer graphics all the time. So the cheapest way of doing CGI was just putting a leather jacket on the guy and not showing his body. So you think he is built out, but he's just wearing a leather jacket throughout the movie. So I think that was like the cheapest CGI that we could use without the issues. I did really like the movie too. The fact that they kind of combine everything that was, before, like from all the series in the past, and it's a nice conclusion. So to answer your question, I think what was your question?
Talk about a character that you've seen in a previous movie, and then the same character in a more recent movie, and how they've grown.
I don't think there's that many actors that can last for 40 years and still play the mantra. So I think Arnold probably takes the prize on this one. He can't really get it. I don't know what it is, if it's the graphics, if it's like the makeup or anything else, but I think he is old, but he's not absolutely old, but not absolutely cool, old, but not absolutely. So he wouldn't speak to his advice. Thank you.
One more? Right. Going back to a movie called Robot Times. Somewhere in the 80s. I don't know if you've seen this, a big fighting robot. It's kind of like what Pacific Rim started with. There was a scene in Robot Times where the two actors were fighting, and during the scene of the fight, I noticed that one of the actors was a woman. They all started out as men, and I'm sure they put in a stunt. Have you ever seen a scene such as this in a movie and caught it and told it to your wife?
Mr. Thomas, my question. I remember watching the show and realized that the actual character was working male and female team members on the fly. Actually, I did not see it. However, the last question you asked was about some actor that has run a long distance. I know that it was quick, but it's two gentlemen behind me that Arnold Schwarzenegger has proven to be the guy. However, I do think you are very much discounting perhaps Harrison Ford, who going from his early days as a male prostitute in a lot of his early shows where he did pole dancing and whatnot before he becomes Han Solo and then goes through all of the Star Wars, not even a trilogy, but two trilogies, which sexology, which then becomes the screen change of person forward with the Temple of Doom and Indiana Jones and all of that stuff, and then he comes out and does the Garden Henry, and you see him put life, and you see him doing all of these different things. He was recently in the show. We went to the Hopkins Theater for $3 to get in and see a full movie up on the big screen, which is cool, and it's something fun. We want to see the age of that one. And Harrison Ford plays the father of one of the leading characters, and he's interesting to watch because he still has a presence on the screen that is just impressive. And think about Harrison Ford, the personal connection. It's like everyone looks, where's your personal connection with this or that? It brings its merit into this whole thing. Like a storm cloud opening up. I've got one story that was my aunt Julie, who lived in Jackson Hole, Wyoming for a while. Not like really popular. Anyway, she knew the guy who ran the rodeo, but she was at a party in Jackson Hole, and they were driven forward, and she was going to get her coat out of the coat closet, and there he was, and they're trying to find his coat, and they bumped into each other, and she's like, wow, you're Harrison Ford. He's like, got it wrong. Pretty deep things, deep thoughts. Anyway, I want to turn that back to you.
Going back to the minions, did all of you see Paul's presentation on the hero journey and all those different steps? When I was watching Minions, I was going through it in my head. Okay, that's the call. Okay, reintegration back into society, and they went through all the steps in the hero journey. All right, I'll turn it back over to our Toastmasters today. Nick.
Everybody goes to break, come back and meeting speakers and evaluators.
Speakers
and evaluators, yeah, if you want to. Toastmasters will style all the speeches to announce.
All right,
Smaller. I don't know how we have that.
Yes, sir.
One related show, so I will be okay, so speakers, you want to read?
I'll take that.
Please.
Speakers give you speeches to Toastmaster and your timer.
Okay.
And now talk to your moderator and level success. What's your
It is, mine.
I am.
And I have an extra one, but I forgot my name. Yeah, if you want to, right outside.
I think I could just write on a piece of paper.
And I'm just
Should be that. Might have to work it in, but
I restarted on the conference meeting here, but I had ordered all the.
working on it. Yeah.
all right, I gotta read those.
All right.
She's getting carried.
That's fine.
It's always gets to leave with
Oh, yeah? I wanna go.
yeah, so her husband is French. Great. Like a team. Well, her name is anyway. So yeah, she's French. He's French. We got married in last year, and now we're again.
That's right. So got state or
Yeah. Yeah, her family is very, very close. In fact, her support is got that. You just, yeah, we just No, anymore. Yeah.
So we go forward. So you keep family sometimes.
Oh, yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's sort of, the big thing is like, it's cold, it's like, fine, some of us have that. It's a crazy life.
Okay.
This is, Doyle, so it's my bride, and then Wednesday morning.
Three floors, and then
It's
eight
okay.
floors.
I just like-
Oh, right. Okay, now this is about this. Okay. All right.
Wasn't that right?
Well, welcome back. I'm glad we didn't lose any members over the break. And, okay, so this is the part of the speeches, and you don't, need to be Toastmaster, that's the Toastmaster rule of the day. Because you know me, and nothing's gonna change the late time. So with that, let's get right into the speeches, and, we have two, season members right now. Well, one shine, one season member. And they're gonna give us two speeches. The first speech will be done by Leah. She's gonna talk about why in the world would you guys join the postal service. Like something. All right, so please welcome.
Yes, why in the world did you join Toastmasters? So last Tuesday, I went to a Toastmasters training event in the Mayfield Library. So it is about 6 o'clock, summertime, so it's beautiful out, no one wants to be, you're getting outside. And here we are crammed into a room that is about big as from Alex to the board to me. And there's 30 people. And it's hot, and it smells, and there are some, kind of pickle sandwiches. It was a nice touch. So I begin, 30 people in a room, and my first reaction was, wow, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of groups in different cities. There's a lot of people who are really engaged. There's a lot of people who love Toastmasters, talk about Toastmasters, and are huge advocates for it. And here I'm thinking, this is all I know. It's a group that we beg people to come, we play multiple roles. And so my thoughts are, let's get back to the basics. Why did you join Toastmasters? So, we were talking about this earlier. There's probably 300, maybe 400 clubs in the Twin Cities. Those clubs have about 30 members, and those clubs usually have 30 members. Now, the ebbs and flows happen, but from my conversations with people last Tuesday, it's a pretty robust club, and they're always looking for ways to engage their constituents or their members. So I want to think back, all of you, to when you first became involved with Toastmasters. Why did you join? Why did you stay? And how can we get people, how can you stay engaged? So, first question, why did you join? Think back to your first meeting, probably a little awkward, you have no idea what you were getting into, You don't even know why you showed up. Or maybe you came with a purpose. But why did you? Nick, why did you join?
Well, that's easy. I wanted to get rid of my odds and arms. And the reason I stayed because I couldn't.
Perfect. Exactly. So we all have a reason why we came here. And we are all coming here in all numbers. We're consistently coming to our meetings. So why are we staying? Vince, why are you staying?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. So why am I staying? I'm staying because I have enjoyed the growth that I feel that I've achieved personally and professionally, and I would like to continue to grow personally and professionally. And I see other people who have grown as well, and I'd like to mimic that and accept some of those traits as well.
Perfect. And I appreciate you guys telling that and participating. That's why we're here, right? Participate, be engaged, to speak on our feed, and when somebody calls on us, come up with an answer that makes sense and has a point. So some of the reasons why other people joined, work and speaking, we covered that, sponsored by their company. So maybe they would mark on their tally or maybe work on their social network within their company. So we joined TechMasters, Toastmasters. Free food was thrown out there, although I don't think that's commonplace. Networking to get a job, find a new job, to learn. So that's something I also want to highlight. We come here to learn. The word of the day is a great example. Some people use it, some people don't, but you are exposed to new vocabulary. You learn by the speeches that people are presenting, which is hopefully engaging and makes you think. I think back to the speech about people's fears or something like that. But I think back to the speeches that people present, and it's engaging. And we are a technical group, so we would hope that maybe as technical people, I like to learn about that as well, that we would learn more, maybe projects you're working on or new technologies you're exposed to. It doesn't always have to be technology based, but you want to educate people engage. So think about something you're interested in and talk about it. BRICS. Last week, I did not know that South Africa was part of BRICS, and I've been talking about it because I feel so out of touch with international affairs. Very bad. So, why do we stay? Unity, to learn, to get rid of our odds and ums, to improve ourselves, maybe take on a leadership role. But really, why do we stay? Do we feel an obligation to come here? Is it that you want to get up really early in the morning and have some free coffee? Or are you staying because you want to get something out of it? If you're staying because you want to get something out of it, let's figure out a reason how to do that. So a few things that we touched on are getting back to the basics. So switching an icebreaker. Icebreakers are fun, but maybe we can do something that's a little silly. I don't know if you play the drinking game where you take a little man on the cup and you don't do that in the drink. Something silly where we can get engaged and start to feel like we are doing something fun every time we go there. On the same topic, I think we should also challenge ourselves and think about ways that we can improve each other's skills. So myself, I'm notoriously bad about not using the word of the day. Maybe I'll use it later, but I know I have that weakness. So it's okay to point that out and help someone. Or somebody has used the correct word, point that out and help them overcome that. Because that's why we're here. We're also here to learn and to improve ourselves. So, in conclusion, what should you get out of TechMasters or Toastmasters? It's whatever you want, whatever you put in. So lean in. If you want to improve your odds and ums, then make a conscious effort when you come here to think about that and improve it. If you want to take on more leadership and help improve people, then work as a mentor to do that. You can get anything you want out of this. Don't just go through the motions. Be a true TechMaster. Thank you.
Remember all the possibilities and never quit. Thanks for showing up. So, second speech will be more technical, it's more business, it's a combination of both. Really, we'll factor the success. Please welcome. Not Alex, but close enough. That's what happens when you stop showing up, right?
That's what happens when you don't show up there. Yeah. Yes, today I'm going to be speaking to you about a topic called the pendulum of success. And I learned about this due to my interim role as a development manager at my current one. Some of you have heard me give speeches about the challenges and the differences about being a manager. I've done some things that were right, and I've done some things that were wrong, and I want to do a whole lot more things that were right and wrong. So I've been doing some research. There's a guy on Prozac called Jay McFarland, and I've been watching his course. It's called Management Strategies, and there's one called Management Strategies, and something to that effect. The big thing that I took away from his talk is pendulum of success. Drew a little bit of a visual diagram here. Does everyone know what a pendulum is? You pull the watch and swing it, it goes to the left, it goes to the right. Jay talks about the pendulum of success, and he says that there's a failure side and there's a success side. So the pendulum has to swing on the failure side as much as it swings to the side of the success side. Then he goes into some examples explaining why he believes this. And these examples really hit home with me. So the first one that he came up with was baseball. Imagine your son, your daughter, or friend's son or daughter is playing baseball. And they get a hit, it flies out into the middle of center field, it hits the ground, the hitter takes off around the bases, and you know he's going to score a home run, or she's going to score a home run. But the ump throws off his mask, and he stands up and goes, no, out, out, out. Everyone will stand up and say, why is that? The ump will say, new rule. Anything hit into center field after 3 p.m. in a children's game is an out. Are you familiar with this rule? Are you familiar with this rule? This would be an example of the ump changing the rules in the middle of the game. Unfair, right? But now think back to a management position or a position you had in a prior company where that type of thing happened. Where the rules were changed from out from underneath you and you weren't aware. Has anyone ever experienced that? Anyone that I have? Going back to the baseball example. Imagine if your son or daughter was playing baseball, there were no outs. No matter what you do, there's no outs. What kind of problems would this present? How would the other team get up to bat? There's no outs. So he talks about penalties. There has to be penalties. What if both teams take the field, pitches thrown, but nobody understands the rules of the game? The players don't know they're supposed to hit the ball and then run to the base. They hit the ball and they stand. Or what if the players don't know how many outs there are before they switch sides? Another example of not knowing how the game is actually played in baseball, he relates this to business. How many times have you gotten in a situation, how many times have you gotten into a game and you don't know what to do? And the only way you find out is if you do it wrong and you point it out. That's me. Anyone else? That's it. Okay. We said in baseball, it's very important that both teams know how to win. Players know how to win. They know that they're supposed to hit the ball. They know they're supposed to run. Moving on from that, he says, again, with the pendulum, it can only move to the left as far as it moves to the right. So if you don't let this pendulum swing to the fail side, then it can't swing an equal distance to the success side. Correct? And he says, only, I'm sorry?
I just say no.
No. He says, you can only have true success if there's a potential for failure. People have to know that they overcame something. If there's no strikes in baseball, then getting a hit won't mean it. Do you agree? But how many times have you been in a business situation where someone has failed, no one acknowledges it, no one disciplines it, the person is allowed to fail, and yet they still get a reward, when they're still at the same level as the people that are super high achievers? I've seen this well, because we're scared to discipline them. We don't want to make them feel Let's talk about failures. What are failures in baseball? Hey, strikes, outs, fouls. How about what's a failure in your company? Your job, what would you consider a failure? Do you know? Good. So as long as you know, then you're on the right track. But I've also gone into companies where I did not know what is the definition of a failure until they came up to me and said, messed up. I'll give you an example. There was one time when I was working at a company writing software, and the person that I was working with, she was testing her software left and right, up and down, and I was new to software, and I still had that kind of arrogance that I write code and it works just fine. And I remember asking her, "You're done writing that code. Why are you keep testing this left and right, up and down? Why are you doing that?" She said, "Because I don't want the QA department to find my problem later. Because if they do, then they have to write it up, they have to research it, they have to document test cases. If I can catch it now, it saves a lot of work later down the line." And that didn't even occur to me. Just, I was young, I thought, write the code, and now I'm done. Somebody else is done. Accountability. So what happens when there is failure? Big thing that Jay stresses is look for systems problems first, look for training problems second, and then go to the person. How many times has someone come up to you and said, "Hey, you messed up"? In the back of your head, you're going, "You didn't tell me that I was supposed to do that. I didn't know." Has anyone ever experienced that? Yes. Yeah. So if someone does mess up, there does have to be accountability, but it doesn't have to be negative. I've worked with people who deleted entire tables from SQL tables because they didn't know about when they're just kind of running ad hoc queries and put an Entran and Entran, kind of in a sandbox. Is it right to go over to them and say, "What are you doing? You just blew away a database"? They didn't know that. Is that fair to do? Jay says it's not. You need to look at systems, training, and then the person. The person was never trained on how to do ad hoc queries. Why are they running ad hoc queries if they're not trained to do it? Lastly, he talks about success. What is a win? So we talked about what is a failure at your job. Do you know what a win is at your job? Is that clearly defined? Some places it's not. I know I've worked with places where it's not clearly defined what a success is. How about if they were playing, going back to the baseball analogy, what if you're playing baseball, someone hits the ball, runs around the base, taps home plate, and no one gets up to cheer? Their team sits on the bench, no one cheers, no one acknowledges that winner. Do you want to do it again? Do you care about even getting hit next time you're running? So Jay talks about when there is a win in an organization, the managers have to make sure that it's celebrated. We know this is hard for you to do, and you overcame something, so we're going to celebrate. Well, wrap that up in conclusion. Depending on what success is, it's a very eye-opening theory to me. You cannot have success without an equal amount of chance of failure. And when people do have success, we need to communicate, we need to celebrate. When someone fails, look at systems first, then their training, then the person.
Problem is, for some reason, management doesn't really understand that. I mean, as a contractor, no, I can't really tell them, "Hey, wait, this was just a small temporary fixture," and then it's much stricter with contractors. That's not important for your work being done before, you just begin. Anyways, so with this, we're going to the evaluation portion of the meeting, and that would be, is that you? That's you. Alex, please welcome Alex. He's going to handle Alex.
I will do two roles here as general data. First, what general data does goes for speakers. And today this was unusual day for last 2 months because, well, speakers, great. exercises. Recall in your mind speeches and close your eyes. And first, we will vote for clear speech. We will vote as two. And for why you joined Toastmaster. Thank you. Now, next is we will vote for William, Pendulum of Success. Please show your affiliation. Thank you. Now you can open your eyes. And next, what we will do, we will hear evaluations of our speeches. And first evaluator is Alex. I will give evaluation of your speech. Why did you join Toastmasters? Would you like to stand up? Better address it to you. So, first, I will start with volume. Please have your manual always with you. This is very helpful, especially for evaluators. If you, for everybody else, did not have your speech, we do have spare here. We do have a spare manual, so always can grab. Project was get to the point. The point of the speech was persuade people. Was I correct? This is what where I was a little bit lost because I was thinking it was more narrative. Later I was thinking maybe it's through asking people will get to the point. That's why we join and everybody will find their own point. So toward end of speech. Yeah. Here is in this evaluation they ask about general and specific, and general point I got, but I think maybe from previous part of this manual supposed to be maybe up to 3 specific points, and this is what I was not sure, so maybe in this case it will be one general, and there is something specific basis in this. I got general point very much, I was not sure about this specific. And I was lost on the big room with lots of people. Was it big demonstration of their education, or was it demonstration how hard it was master sometimes, or maybe it was different point. So it was just, or maybe I missed something. So maybe you will later tell me what was the goal of an example. What else? Reference to notes. So sometimes maybe when you have a PowerPoint and you're not supposed to read through it, but it just has some bullets, it also helps you because if you walk and you can move easily on the screen on big text, then it's very hard to find specific stuff on a note because it's relatively small, yes? Also it's easy, so you always have to remember where you have to go. So from that point of view, it's maybe it's a hardest thing to read notes on something like this. You know, you look at it and the interesting part that look here and the time maybe half a second, it's not much, but it's big back points somehow. They just do a break and they immediately start where they want. Overall, what speaker can be done differently? I think maybe just a little bit less notes and a little bit more eye contact with the audience. What was very good, I really relieved with why did you join Toastmasters with specific questions to people and engagement of this audience. This is great in this speech. They kind of engage a little more with paying attention. Thank you. Yeah, as a being general evaluator and being evaluator, I use it all the time. Yes, I went overboard. Thank you, Mike, showing me. Next, maybe somebody else has to conduct best evaluator for me because I have a conflict of interest. And Next, evaluation of William's speech will be done by Mohammed.
Thank you, General Evaluator. William, you asked me to look for specific points, which was fast, slow speed of when you're talking, because when you're nervous, you go a little faster. I think a lot of people go faster. I have one faster now. But I think you kept it, the pace was great. It was, your points were clear, and the flow could have used a little bit more. The storytelling was there. I think where I'll jump to next is I think it was timely for me because I'm kind of facing the same dilemma. At my contract currently, I was brought in as an architect and I'm doing project management, team management, tech lead, and architecture, which leaves me no time to do anything else.
That's good.
Yes, it is. It is hurting cats. I think hurting cats might have been easier. You certainly gave me something to look for in the prototype course, but I think your speech would have been better if you had a presentation behind it. Then I would have been able to say, hey, great summarization of blah, 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 of course, but I didn't get it because it wasn't on there. You had a great analogy of baseball and you kept it consistent. I really like that because you talked about baseball and the success factors and the failure factors and changing the rules in baseball rather than talking about one sport and then going to another sport or maybe just completely changing the whole thing. I thought that was really good. Your gestures were good, but I think you just used a little bit more work. One of the problems was you were holding your notes and we were trying to read what was behind on your sheet. And it's all out of something like that. But it's, I think you can definitely rely. There definitely do not need to rely on your notes. You know that the material, you've experienced it. It comes from your heart. If you really needed to use notes, maybe use something bigger font and you just leave it on the lectern and you can kind of glance at them. Like I said, a slide presentation would be great. What confused me about your board was you have mental success and you have baseball on asterisk, 6-time failure, accountability or accountability success. So reading that would confuse me as trying to listen to your speech. So try not to go down that path. Had great eye contact. I think the only awkward movement that you had was coming back to the board towards the lectern because of the computer thing there. But overall, I thought your speech was good. It wasn't great. I think you could do better. I think if you had a slide presentation behind it, you would be able to concisely bring the introduction, body, and conclusion into it, rather than saying in conclusion or something like that. Just say, hey, I'm kind of wrapping up. But I think it was pretty well done. Thank you.
Why we are doing watching? For my opinion, it's not only because, for example, I want to win or I want to start match, yes. Yeah, but also it's a good feedback for the moderator.
All right, time to vote for the best evaluator. Please put your heads down. All in favor of Alex, raise your hand. Okay, thank you. All in favor. Thank you.
Right today.
Go ahead.
Okay. Nowhere to write, just that. Thank you. Next. I'm going to welcome here tabletop master to award files of all.
Alex, wise old owl, best answer for the table topic. Table topics was about movies today, and I was all over the board as far as stuffing. The one that I think I enjoyed the most, however, was Nick's exclamation of Terminator Genesis.
Someone give the window.
All right, great. Everybody is looking at the electronic devices, you do some report. Timer, would you like to provide a report?
I could, your general evaluator, if it's okay that I use my electronic device that has the times that everyone did,
Yes.
I would appreciate it.
Except everybody else.
I will continue looking at my electronic device to monitor your odds and ends.
Because I would like to say that we started the meeting right at 7:45. However, our business meeting was only 5 minutes and 56 seconds. It was short and concise, very well done. Our 1-minute Toastmaster Vince spoke for 56 seconds. I'm the 1-minute topic reading, which was very good job on that. Paid attention to the timing. In fact, everybody paid attention to the timing. Our table topic, speaking from 1 minute to 2 minutes, is the target time. We spanned from 55 seconds to the shortest, to the longest myself, 2:14. The average was about 1:45. Leading your speech with 6 minutes and 47 seconds. Very well done. William, you went a little bit over 8 minutes and 19 seconds. Our 2 evaluators, Alex was at 3:40 and Mohammed at 3:60.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. I think we did a pretty darn good job with our odds and ends. We could have used a little more effort on the word of the day, though. As far as word of the day, the only one besides myself I can remember hearing for sure was Mike. As far as odds and ends are concerned, nobody had more than 9, which was, of course, Nick. But a close second was actually Muhammad with 7, which is a little bit weird because you probably only heard 1 or 2 names because yours were mostly very quiet. It was very weird. It was kind of under his breath, and I had to stop and think, like, was that an It was very weird, where you would stop and go under your breath, and it was weird. So I had to think, was that a continuation? Was that an elongated and type sound? It was hard. Anyway, I did not hear any from Mike. I heard 2 from Clea, which was fantastic. Speaking to the fact that currently she is the newest member, so very good job there, and she had multiple times to speak. And Alex and William both have 4 on my board here. As far as the word picture is concerned, when William called me at the last second, I was like, wow, where's that? And Mike did do me right and gave me a simile. He said something back up like this. So I'd like to give him the
All right, we're done with most of the reports. Now, we will go to Best Evaluator Award. And Best Evaluator Award goes to the recording device now. Madam, being in when you get an award. All right, now I would like to ask you to do some drum roll. We have and I will give you back after. Overall meeting evaluation included me remember your role and read it duties before. We do have cheat sheet here, but it's better to be more natural and move here as rarely as possible. So when I give my evaluation to speakers, I exactly did the same, putting my notes, yes, and you can see, is it disruptive, is it make it fluid, for me as evaluator, I always struggle between even a constructive criticism, how to make it constructive and make energizing, and I need to improve, be more energizing, more humorous, I guess, more entertaining. For overalls, I think we really need never have a grammarian and timer all together because it would be very hard to run. Everything else was good. Now I would like to welcome back Toastmaster here and do these two awards for Toastmaster. Take Toastmaster, please come back.
Let's see, so you said 2 out of the 3? You just trying to confuse me.
Exactly.
So which ones do we do?
You can do any of them.
Oh, I can do it.
But usually, if you feel,
Let's settle the fuzzy mouse. Let's get all the fuzzy stuff out of the way. You know, you didn't win the best speech contest, but you gave us, the speech was clear as mud, especially when it came to technical subjects, so it was pretty fuzzy, and you cleared it up at the end. So you fully deserve it. All right. I don't think we have any candidates for this, but yes, I really do. Because everybody really wants it. So you know what, guys? This goes to the group, to everyone for showing up and participating in this game. All right. So this is
everybody except Mike. Now you're clear.
Again, I want to say a big thank you for showing up. Really enjoyed the meeting. Maybe I enjoyed it more because I missed that whole bunch of them fast. So I don't remember what this feels right. And right group of people, you normally get more people in this.
Typical lately. We're trying to up that.
This is about it. Well,
we're going to do better.
We're going to do better, for sure. And you are the president now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations. So thank you guys again. Really glad to see you. I hope to be here more often as well. And you know what? We should have another award here for the most thousand announced. Because I will never get rid of them. I might take my Hamlet's approach. And the meeting is over. So
what? What?
What it is? Oh, I have to call Vince. So, see, now when I have to pick it, you have to get the big. So yes, please welcome back Vince to the
All right, before we take off for the day, are there any closing announcements?
So one thing I forgot to mention in my speech was I learned about the golden gavel. But it's really a cool idea to kind of have an inter-competition between the clubs. And if you, 2 or more members show up to someone else's club who has a golden gavel, they get to take that. And that's a good way to see other clubs and to get a little competition going and to get new blood into the club. So I'm going next week to the Pumpernickel Club, which is at Draco, over lunch. So an announcement about that. They had the golden gavel last week, and so people are kind
So is it among division, among area, because
I'm not sure if it's area or division.
okay.
So is that like, let's say 2 of us show up at 3,
Then they get.
Right, so let's try to plan it. Because 20 people there.
Yep, and I will track down where it is, because last week the Pumpernickel Club had it, and they had 2 different competing TechMasters groups, TechMasters groups, competing for the golden gavel, and I'm not sure how that is. But it's fun way. Yeah, it is. It's a heated debate, who has the most members, or who is the newest here. I think there's different ways. So I have fun.
Thank you. Any other announcements? Any other announcements? I just want to throw in, make sure we don't have naked lectures in them. Make sure that if you are holding the court here, that you do not use general facility. Not only is that a general rule, but since we are now live on Kepler webcast every week, and hopefully as we try to advocate budget has. And when that happens, it's a little weird. So, try to stay, that's why I've been watching that. I'm not goofing around, I'm watching our teachers, I'm watching this on my thing, and I'm thinking, the meetings. Anyway, so please make sure that you have some of your all time, and someone's calling in, come. That, not for a cable, we'll skip that, but comes to the voice, please cover that. And I think that's all I have for, if any other thoughts? If not, we'll turn over to the timer for what's the thought?
Sung Gilda Song song, which is the Korean Taekwondo motto of enthusiasm and persistence, all things are possible, which brings up in mind kind of the early bird may get worm, but the second is to be persistent.
Best part about speaking, giving quotes in foreign language, no one knows if you made it up.
Exactly.
With that, I will turn this